Hey, welcome back. Now, today we're going to be learning one of my absolute favorite kinds of problems in algebra. I'm hyped to talk about this. We're going to be doing day 8, part 1. This is on a Tuesday. You could say part 1's going up on a Tuesday. Sorry, that joke was so bad I had to pause and step away for a second. Gosh, I'm old. But we're going to be learning how to solve equations, here's the key, with variables on both sides. Now, you're going to see the word complex. Honestly, I don't think so. I think that is not a good way to explain these. Because really, when we're dealing with complex equations like equations with variables on both sides, it follows pretty much a set pattern, and it's similar to what we've talked about before, guys. Let's get our steps. And again, these are so important, so important. So step 1, I'll do these in different colors. Step 1, you're going to want to deal with any parentheses. Usually that means you're going to want to distribute a number into those parentheses. If there's parentheses, deal with those first. Step 2, like I said, I'll change up the colors. Here's the thing, combine variables. And make sure you do that to where if variables are on the opposite sides, combine them onto one side. So combine variables on one side of the equation. So for example, if you want to get all the variables on the left and there's already one on the left, bring the one on the right over. So step 3, there's only 4 steps. Then you're going to combine regular numbers, like if there's just a 7, a plus 7 or a minus 8 showing out there, combine those regular numbers on the other side. And then finally, step 4, you're just going to multiply or divide whatever is attached to the variable. And so guys, I cannot stress enough how important these 4 are. These 4 steps are going to help you with probably 95% of the equations you're going to see in Algebra 1. I'm not even playing. And watch how they work. Let's put these into practice right here. Number 1, do we see any parentheses? Nope. So step 1's good. Step 2, combine variables on one side of the equation. We got a variable here and a variable here. I like to keep my variables positive when I combine them. I like to keep them positive. So this is step 2 right here. So I'm going to subtract 7m over, because if I were to subtract 10m over, we'd get a negative 3. I'm going to subtract 7m over, so that is positive 3m plus 8, and then 7m minus cancels out, 17. Now, step 3, you don't have to do this, by the way, I'm just showing you. We're going to combine regular numbers on the other side. So if my variable's here, we need to get that 8 and move it over here. And the way we do that, to move a number across an equal sign, you have to do the opposite operation. If it's plus 8, you got to subtract 8. So 3m equals 17 minus 8 is 9. And then finally, step 4, we're going to multiply or divide whatever is attached to the variable. So that would be 3, divide by 3, and m equals 3. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that's not too bad once you see those steps and once you realize that that's a safe way to do this. Let's do one more together, and then I'm going to let you guys try some of these and let you flex on them. I'm not going to do this again. let's see if you guys can do this without needing me to go through each step. So step 2, 5s and 2s. So 5 and 2, I'm going to bring that 2 over. So that gives us 3s plus 13 equals 22. Now, what are you thinking next? That's right, step 3. Combine those regular numbers on the other side. So subtract 13 over 3s equals 9. Oh my goodness, we're going to get a very similar answer to the last one. And then final step, divide by 3. M equals 3 again. That's complete coincidence, by the way. And so what I'm going to let you guys do, I'm going to let you guys try numbers 1 and 3 for me. Let's see what you guys can do on those following our steps. All right, let's see what you guys got here. Now, you got to be careful. That's a negative 2n, so if we're going to combine it with 3n, we have to add it over. Subtract 2. Negative 8 and negative 2 give you negative 10 when we can add those together. Divide by 5, you get n is negative 2. Now, over here, same thing. That's a negative 7m, so if you want to bring it over, you got to add it. I guess we could have subtracted 15m over, but why cause that to be a negative? So add that over. Subtract 22 over, and here's where you got to be careful, guys. That's negative 4. We're now dividing 22 over. Negative 4 divided by 22, that's going to create a fraction. So we can say, okay, 2 goes into 4, 2 goes into 22. We can reduce this down to negative 2 over 11 when you divide that by 2 and that by 2. And that's as far as that reduces. 2 and 11 have nothing in common, so we can't simplify that any further. Now, how about we wrap up with this last section today? Guess what? We got parentheses now. That means we're going to involve the distributive property, which means step 1 is happening. And really, that's it. You know how we did step 2, step 3, step 4? Those are all still happening. It's just now, step 1 is happening too. It's just going to be one extra step. And in fact, check it out. We got parentheses here and parentheses here. So as far as step 1 is concerned, we're going to take 3 and distribute it to 4a and a 2. So 3 times 4a is 12a. 3 times 2 plus 3 times 2 is 6 equals 2 times a, 2a, 2 times negative 2 minus 4. And wait a minute, look at the setup. That's what we were getting here, 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 and here. This is the exact same setup. We're ready for step 2 now. And so, guys, that's the only difference here. These problems may look scarier, but really, they're just one extra step. So step 2, subtract 2a over 10a plus 6 equals negative 4. Step 3, I'm going to subtract 6 over 10a equals negative 10. 4 minus 6, negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. And then finally, divide by 10. Negative 10 divided by positive 10. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. And so that's going to be negative 1. And so we're going to finish today, guys. I want to make sure I give you a chance to try 2 problems for me. Number 1 and number 2. And the one thing I'm going to mention on number 2 before I turn you loose is that negative right there, that is a negative 1. If you ever see a negative in front of these parentheses, that's really a negative 1. And so let's see what you guys got on these 2 problems here. Let's make sure you guys are good on that first step. Distribute 7 to both. Distribute 6 to both. Distribute negative 1 to both of those. Negative 5a and negative 6. And distribute 2 to both of those, 6a and 16. You can go back to working. Check it out on number 1 on the additional examples. You actually get to stop a step early on this one. Subtract 6x or 6h over. 7h minus 6h is just 1h, or h. Subtract 21 over. H is going to equal negative 39. You don't need to divide by 1. Dividing by 1 wouldn't change negative 39. Number 2 is a little different too. I saw that negative 5a and 6a over here, and I said, well, wait, I don't want to subtract 6a over, because then I'm going to have to end up dividing by a negative number. Why don't I just take that negative 5a and add it over to the right side? So guess what? I got to keep this variable positive, 11a. Well, if I'm going to move a to the right side, guess what that means I have to do with this number on the right side? I got to move it over. So I subtract 16 over. Negative 6 and negative 16 is negative 22. And then divide by 11. A is negative 2. So I hope you guys are liking some of these shorter lessons. I think this gives you more time to really work with these. You're not feeling rushed like you're having to, race against the clock. But guys, if you are still confused at all, know that I will be willing to work with you after school. You can get on the Google Meets on the days you're not here. You can ask me in class. Please, please, please ask me any questions, guys, if you're confused. I love to help, and I want to get you guys as ready as possible for our first test this year. So I'll be talking to you guys soon.